What's up, guys? It is day 5.
If you missed last week's episode, we installed our head and foot board for our floating bed frame. We also put in horizontal framing members. We utilized plus nuts or cross nuts for all of this. If you want to check that video out, go ahead and pause this video and click that link in the top right corner.
Alright, so I always have to be out here playing with them for quite a while, otherwise I get into mischief. So I went and bought some 2x2s that will go, let's jump up here. The holes here is my plan, and then where this sits I will be able to put a board out where it's basically flush. Same with the ground over there, this spot here. I think the first order of business where we drilled those holes yesterday in the bed frame, I'm going to go ahead and drill those holes first just to get it out of the way, and then we'll start measuring and get cutting. This piece on both the driver's and passenger side will have to notch out this side here like we did for this piece before, the nice curve, to fit this piece here. And then we have one of the M8 bolts that we can use there, and then we'll just have to drill one more hole for our plus nut on this side. Alright, so we cut this to 50 inches to fit right in between, and it is actually a perfect fit. So the plan is we do maybe the ends and maybe a 2 on the inside. So drill through and drill out these holes. For the ceiling piece, there's a pretty decent hole, if you want to call it that, that's above this piece of wood. But I think with a bolt, we have the plus nut right here, this could suck up to the roof. Holes all drilled. Whew. I went around and taped all the ones so I could see under headlamp, because I'm guessing the sun will be down by the time I finish. One of the cross beams, for some reason, had perfect size holes for the plus nut, so I don't even have to worry about it. The other ones, I just drilled out some of the holes that are a little bit small, and then one single hole I had to make in the middle. But for now, let's get that Rust-Oleum out. I'm going to grab my headlamp and finish that up, and then we'll call it a night. Hey guys, day 6. First order of business today, we'll be cutting ceiling pieces. I cut this one yesterday at 56 inches. I think it's a little bit short, so I think we're going to go ahead and cut them at 57 inches. Second order of business after that, we'll be placing those plus nuts. I figured give the Rust-Oleum a little bit more time to dry. It all seems pretty dry already, so not to worry there. Alright, time for all the plus nuts. Go ahead and get those in, and then drill the holes for the strapping for the roof. We got all of the plus nuts put in. Now we're going to see about mounting everything and figure out what we're going to do with vertical stuff. Katie came out, helped me put the head and foot board back in. We got all of the other framing pieces put into the van for tonight. Didn't get to measuring out, kind of just talked it over with Katie some to see, some ideas I had rolling in my brain. So yeah, I think we'll either start on that tomorrow or depending on the weather window in the next few days. Hey guys, welcome to day 7. So I stopped at Home Depot. I bought just one piece of the shiplap that we plan to do for the walls. See what we can do to finish some of that framing. All those vertical pieces that we got to cut, and then that piece up above, you know, between the walls and the ceiling. So wish me luck. Here we go. All right, suggestion for when you're cutting multiple pieces of wood. Just go ahead and measure everything out ahead of time. Label the pieces. I was going around just labeling letters for all the pieces. That way you can just grab all the wood, get all the cuts all at once, rather than going back and forth. So I've been looking at what we'll do up here, and I think having a piece about this size pocket jigged into the bottom and then notched out possibly to just fit into these holes that are up here, and then with the shiplap that should be able to sit right over the top of it and clear that gap between the ceiling. All right, wanted to give you a little bit of a pro tip. When you are making your lines with your pencil and then you're going to have, you know, cut on that line, leave yourself the grace of that pencil line, so that if you measured and the piece is too small, obviously you can't add any more to it. But if you leave yourself that grace, you can sand off the excess. All notched out, got all 5. So this is just going to sit, get pocket jigged into those horizontal ribs, and then this, you know, once that's staying, that top will be it's nice and sturdy in there. Got all the pieces cut, all of them labeled, corresponding with all the labels we have up on the wall. So I'm gonna go ahead and see if I can fit these, if they work. With that little pro tip, if I have to, I can just sand off the ends. If not, if they fit perfectly, we'll just grab that pocket jig and we'll just start drilling holes. So got all the boards nice and tight. Some of them, you know, like this one wobbles just a little bit on the corner. Otherwise, they're in there nice and good. So this is that pocket jig I've been talking about so much. So the first thing we do is figure out the thickness of our board and pick that right here. I mean, it gives you straight away the board thickness. This is supposed to be 1 inch. It's closer to 3/4. Go ahead and you put your board on. There are these lines down below that correspond with the pockets. B and C of these 3 corresponds to a board thickness of 1 to 2 inches. So we're going to go ahead and use those holes. Those holes should be as close to center on the board as possible. And then we have the screw, or the drill that goes into the pocket holes, and it has a little stopper that you also select the thickness, so that when you go through the hole, it's not going to puncture the bottom of the base. So we'll go ahead and... So we got that pocket hole in this board, and so this is basically our vertical member. This board represents the horizontal members that we'll have across the sides of the van. So we'll go ahead and take a clamp, lock it in place, and then there are these pocket screws that Kreg sells. They're square heads with these nice round where they grab into the wood. There's also a bit that Kreg has that has that square to fit these heads. So what's nice, they have a magnetic bit, so it grabs onto those screws nice. So you basically can just put them right into those holes, drill them right into place. Go ahead and do that with the second one. Take that clamp back off, loosen up those. There we go. Gets a nice strong, I mean that's pretty damn sturdy. So those pocket screws go right in, keep it nice and tight, and we'll have one on the bottom, one on the top, going into those bolted down horizontal boards, and that'll leave a nice strong frame that we're going to be able to put all of our shiplap on the walls. I'm going to go ahead and grab all those vertical pieces that we cut, and I'm going to go ahead and pocket jig each side. The settings are all set, so I don't have to worry about adjusting anything. I'm going to go ahead and just grab all the pieces, come out here, pocket jig both sides, and then we'll call it good. Well, I am guessing some of you are asking yourselves, why the hell would you frame everything out and then take everything down? My thought is, do it right the first time. I know in a van, condensation is a huge thing. You're breathing it out, you're cooking, you know, depending on heat. If you were to use propane heater, that puts moisture into the air. Pine rots, it molds, it mildews, whatever. Having that behind the wall and breathing it in, especially if we're going to be living in this full time, I'm not wanting to do that. So I'm going to treat it with Kilz. I know it's just a primer, I'm not going to paint it. Kilz is supposed to be a sealer, so I'm going to go ahead and seal it with Kilz, and you know, it should dry within air temperature, they say to touch within 1 to 2 hours. And then as soon as I'm ready, I will clear out space in here, you know, within the van, just to sit overnight and dry. And then, you know, once I feel comfortable putting it back up, then we'll go ahead and do that. But, you know, it is extra work for sure to unscrew everything, screw everything back in. But luckily we have these cross nuts which help in that process. It definitely is not as dire as putting in a self-tapping screw, taking that back out, putting it back in. That takes more metal away and is not as strong in the future, whereas these are basically a nut and bolt. You know, I'm not worried that taking them down is going to be an issue. It's just having to do the work to do it. Morning guys, day 9. Woohoo! So today, as you can see, everything was covered with the Kilz, and we're going to paint the head and footboards white with actual white paint, because that's Katie's job today. And then if you can see all the rest of the framing, I'm going to get the rest of the framing up in the van. We're going to drill or screw in all of the vertical pieces into the horizontal pieces with those pocket screws, and we should be good to go. So this is like the first day Katie's been able to help me because she's been working all the time and I've been stuck not working, so I get to work on the van. So that's exciting. I get to have a day
and it's nice
with her. So yes, let's get to it. All the framing's in, all the roof pieces, everything is in, nice and sturdy. Bed frame pieces are in. So we were talking about possibly starting to insulate today, but we started getting into the conversation about how we're going to work around the dang windows and have that bump out. So I think what we settled on is we're going to glue 2x2s, which are about a 1.5 by 1.5. We're just going to use a construction adhesive and adhere these to the frame of the, or just to the wall of the van. So cut the pieces to fit. Only problem is if we're going to be using construction adhesive, there would only be tacks basically at the top and bottom, and then it would just be a space in between. So my plan is to cut them down in 3s. Then that way we can tack 3 boards in place and there'll be more surface area against the van. Cut all the pieces. Basically Jenga blocks now. But there's definitely a triangle piece where the pieces butt up to each other. The one on the top, it's a little bit looks like it's a little bit flatter up here, and then down here is where most of that curve is. So you can definitely see a little bit of it. So I think that'll do a pretty good job of minding that gap. I'm gonna go ahead and get these painted and set out to dry and clean everything up, and we'll call it a night. The blocks are all dry. Be able to get them on the van. I'm using this Loctite PL Premium Max. This is supposed to be the strongest bond that Loctite has. This takes 24 hours to cure though. So I'm gonna put a couple dabs of this rapid fuse. It's supposed to set in 30 seconds. So hopefully they'll be able to just stay up there without, you know, me holding pressure on them. I'm going to try to put boards across them and put 2x4s to kind of hold them in place after the fact. I'll clean off the surfaces first with some Windex probably to just make sure there's no grease or anything that'll be on there. I'll apply this to the board, and then we'll start from the top down and get it done. I think this will hopefully be the trick for making this bump out. Good afternoon guys, day 11. All these pieces are nice and sturdy glued in here. For the window framing, we will have boards that will be probably a wider diameter than this to fit in between, and we'll make a nice rectangular frame for around this window. And then our shiplap will be able to stick into that framing, and then this lip will come out to hopefully match just wider than the shiplap. Basically has an inch on both sides extra into the wall, so we should be getting around 74 to 75 inches, which there are short queen mattresses that would fit within our bed framing. The only thing left for framing today is those pieces that run from here up, and I'm going to glue some foam on, so we're going to go ahead and get that done now, and then get those drilled in place, and we'll call it good. Got that foam all glued in here, and everything looks to be sitting nice and sturdy. So these pieces in the van will go into that little channel, and then it'll be pocket jigged down. Framing is done. I am so excited to have this project checked off. The bump outs all have those pieces glued in. They are nice and solid. We finished with the pieces up on the top today, as you just saw. And yeah, there's a few things that we'll have to shore up, like what we're gonna do under the garage. But yeah, I hope you are liking these videos. We will have a lot more content coming your way, so maybe hit that bell to be notified as we post new videos. If you're not subscribed to the channel already, please do. If you did like this video, please give it a like. If you have any questions, please throw them in the comments below. Reach out to us on Instagram @TrailVagabonds. Hopefully you're enjoying this, and I'm happy to be sharing. We'll see you on the next one.